The Ring magazine is a magazine. I don't know why media and champions and promoters give any credit to a Ring magazine belt, which only threatens the credibility of the sport. I am very upset because they just declared a few days ago that the rankings of the organizations are corrupt. And if you touch my WBC, I'm going to fight back. I don't care about the Ring magazine because they are a business. They make money. They are biased. And that is not boxing. Boxing is what you see here.
So the WBC president, Mauricio Sulaiman, after he pretty much came out dissing Turkey in the Ring magazine, well, since then, he had a change of heart, where he came out and did a 180, pretty much apologizing to Turkey. Mauricio Sulaiman said the following, quote, "I think the WBC should make its position public, which is TKO boxing is a good opportunity because I'm about to make some money." Excuse me, I misquoted. Because we have always supported any movement, any company, any tournaments that have been put together. I truly believe that with the multi-billion joint venture that is supposed to be TKO and UFC and WWE and what His Excellency has done in just under 2 years, it should be a great thing for the sport. End of the quote. I guess the multi-billion joint venture changed Mauricio Sulaiman's mind real effing quick. But let's be real, no one was taking Mauricio Sulaiman seriously when he said that the Ring magazine is biased. Since the WBC president Mauricio Sulaiman is so biased to the point you would mistake that Canelo Alvarez is the WBC president, not Mauricio Sulaiman. After all, Canelo Alvarez wanted to duck his mandatory Jamal Charlo at the time at 160 pounds. All he had to do was send one letter to the WBC, and they created a duck belt for him, aka the franchise belt. Now my question is, if the WBC is not biased, then where is that belt? Whatever happened to the franchise belt? Remember when they gave Lomachenko the same belt to duck Devin Haney? Whatever happened to that belt? The email champion Devin Haney put an end to it when he exposed the hypocrisy by the WBC. But the WBC being biased toward Canelo didn't stop there, because even without the franchise belt, even without the duck belt, some way, somehow, Canelo ducked his other mandatory at 168, David Benavidez, for over 3 years. So the WBC president Mauricio Sulaiman is in no position to talk about being biased and being righteous, since he's anything but that. Clearly they have their favors. Benavidez was given 2 weeks to decide if he's going to stay at 175 or 168, because he had to pick which interim belt he wanted, or else he will get stripped. But Canelo for over 3 years been ducking Benavidez, and he was never stripped. Devin Haney fought his mandatory Lomachenko, and after that, immediately after that, they ordered him to fight Shakur. It don't stop there. Even at 140 pounds, Devin Haney, after he got cheated by Ryan Garcia, the WBC had the audacity to order Devin Haney to fight his mandatory Sandor Martin. Even though Devin at that time was still suspended by the New York State Athletic Commission because of the punishment he took from a PED drug cheat, Ryan Garcia. But the WBC didn't care. They wanted a damaged good Devin Haney to fight his mandatory immediately after that. Talk about corruption. Can you be more corrupted than that? Yes, you can. The WBC can, as they allowed Valdez to get in the ring while he was on PEDs. They approved it. They allowed it. Valdez was allowed to get in the ring to fight while he was on PEDs, which is why the WBC stands for We Be Cheating. So nobody really cares about what Mauricio Sulaiman was talking about. This man defended all the cheaters that existed. When Canelo popped dirty, he defended him when he tested positive for steroids. When Tyson Fury cheated, he defended him. When Any fighter that tests positive for PEDs, he comes out and defends them like Superman. I'm talking about he's the cheater's hero. If you still don't believe the WBC Mauricio Sulaiman is one of the most corrupted men in boxing, how about this? Canelo tested positive for steroids, a steroid called Cumbuterol. Mauricio Sulaiman came out to save the day like Superman by increasing the Cumbuterol limit fighters can have in their system. I guess so Canelo Alvarez can take more Cumbuterol or eat more contaminated meat without getting busted for PEDs. That's why it's universally known. The WBC clean program is a hypocrisy. It's supposed to be called a cheating program, since the WBC president Mauricio Sulaiman has done nothing but trying to help fighters cheat, like Canelo Alvarez, with the new rule of him increasing the Cumbuterol limit fighters can have in their system, especially after 5 other fighters from Mexico failed for steroids. And not just any steroid. They tested positive for the same steroid Canelo tested positive for, Cumbuterol. So when Mauricio Sulaiman said, I heard Turkey say the rankings are rigged or corrupted, damn right. This is not even up for debate. The IBF actually got caught taking a bribe from a promoter. The WBC, even though they didn't get caught taking a bribe, but what do you call them giving Canelo Alvarez a duck belt? I mean, what do you call them not forcing Canelo to fight his mandatory Benavidez for over 3 years? However, they force other fighters like Devin Haney, etc., etc., etc. I guess the rules don't apply to everybody, huh? Listen, I can go all day exposing the corruption that exists in the sport, but I'll be talking to you guys till next year if I do that. So let's move on to save some time for Dana White. There's no secret, Turkey and Dana White launched a new company called TKO. Well, Dana White since then revealed what they are going to be working on, which is eliminating divisions in the sport of boxing, certain divisions such as the divisions in between. Basically, Dana White want to turn boxing similar to the UFC. And there's a lot of problems with that because Dana White said boxing is pretty much like a dying sport. Every fight is like going out of cell type of fight. Everybody is undefeated. Everybody don't want to fight each other. Well, that's going to change. You're going to start seeing a lot of O's go out of the window. Now, it's all good and dandy until Dana White brought up that he wants to do only the main divisions and no divisions in between. First of all, here is the problem with that. Some of the biggest names in boxing are actually in the divisions in between. Like Canelo Alvarez, he's at 168. Gervonta started his career at 130 pounds, just like Floyd Mayweather. Canelo started his career when he won his first world title at 154. Kermel Moulton, the hottest prospect in boxing, is at 130 pounds. Inoue is at 122. The common denominator is none of these divisions are the actual divisions. These are the divisions in between. You cannot force the faces of boxing to move out of their division to another division to compete. That's first of all. Second of all, some of the hottest divisions in boxing are actually the divisions in between, and some of the biggest stars came from the divisions in between, from Usyk to Gervonta to Canelo to Floyd to Kermel Moulton. 154 is one of the hottest divisions. The problem at 154 is the fighters not fighting each other. We need a tournament. Eliminating the division is not the answer. That sounds crazy. At 140, we need a tournament. At 154, we need a tournament. Likewise for a lot of divisions in between and the main divisions. You see, boxing has a different problem than the UFC. Let's be real. The UFC don't have talent like that. Outside of the fighters from Dagestan right now, who you got in the UFC? John Jones, who didn't fight Francis Ngannou, who don't want to fight his mandatory right now? Pereira, who just lost and was carrying the UFC this year and the year before that, fighting like 4 to 5 times a year? the UFC don't have talent. Dana White should build stars in the UFC right now. He needs new, fresh blood in the UFC. Boxing, we have plenty of that. We are overwhelmed with talent in every division. The only problem is they need to fight each other. They need to structure tournaments in every division so they can fight each other. That's the only problem. You do that, then problem solved. All you got to do is force mandatory unifications per division. Then we will end up with an undisputed champion every 2 years in every division. At that point, if fighters like Canelo, Gervonta want to cherry pick, it's okay. Sit on the sideline, do your cherry picking, but you are not going to keep any title hostage like Canelo is keeping the undisputed title at 168 hostage or kept it hostage. Absolutely not. Benavidez should have the right to fight for the undisputed title. Once he win it, then Canelo is going to be looking from the sideline like, oh, hell no, this man getting all the love, he's getting all the buzz, he's getting all the attention, he's getting all the respect. He's not going to have any choice but to fight him because he's the undisputed champion. You see, the problem of ducking is solved, including from the A-side fighters. If the A-side fighters don't want to fight, it's okay if you don't want to join the tournament. The fighters, the real fighters that want to fight, they're going to fight it out for undisputed. And then the A-side fighters are going to be begging for the opportunity. That's how you solve the problem. You don't solve the problem by eliminating divisions. That's crazy. Boxing, like I said, is overwhelmed with talent. The UFC, on the other hand, I be watching the same fight again, his ass whooped like 100 times. When the hell we going to see new blood in there? Like I said, boxing, we don't have that problem. Just in the lightweight division alone, we have Gervonta, Lamont Roach, Shakur, Lomachenko, Keyshawn, Andy Cruz, Murataya, Abdullah Mason. And I can just go on and on and on. This is just one division. I'm talking about the hottest names. Some of the hottest names in that division. And there's more. Just like that in the lightweight division and in every division. If some way, somehow, Turkey can get these corrupt organizations to work with each other and establish a rule to create a tournament where they're going to force mandatory unifications, man, the sky is the limit. Another thing we don't need in the sport of boxing, like the UFC, they don't even have USADA testing, let alone VADA testing. Dana White can't bring that steroid things in here. We don't want a dirty sport. We want a clean sport, respectfully. That being said, it makes sense for the UFC not to have divisions in between because they barely have enough talent. If you eliminate the fighters from Dagestan, half of the roster is gone. Half of the champions are gone. So let's hope Dana White don't mess up boxing with these plans, because that's crazy talk. Dana White said he want to build fighters in boxing. Well, he need to start off with the UFC respectfully. What we need in boxing is one face, one name, the fighters fighting each other. That's it, that's all. And they can fight for undisputed for the ring belt. They can set the ring as the undisputed belt, and the WBC, the IBF, the WBO, and the WBA as belts to get to that position. Stepping stones. If they don't want to play along, then get rid of them and just make the ring the undisputed belt with the same type of structure. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below. And to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's your status on the mandatory versus Canelo? Have you petitioned the WBC for Canelo fight yet, or for him to vacate?
I mean, I've been #1 contender for the past 3 years. I don't feel like I had a position for anything, because what the fuck is the point of you winning the title eliminator, the interim title, and being there for 3 years? I've heard some shit where they said that, oh, I lost my opportunity because I chose to go up to 175. There was no talk and no nothing about me fighting for no fight with Canelo. So then how does that make sense? We're like, oh, okay, he goes to 175, he missed his opportunity. That's some bullshit in his own, you know what I mean? And I've been holding that in for a long, long time. I've been #1 contender for the past 3 years. I've been there, beat the guys that told me they told me I had to beat them. And now that I see another opportunity to go up to get another title, now I lost my opportunity. It just doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense how they are saying that they're going to give me 10 days to make my decision on what I want to do. Bro, what the fuck? What about when I was there for 3 years? And you've been giving Canelo all his decision. He can do whatever he wants. So I feel like it's a little bit unfair. But you know, it is what it is. There's a lot of politics playing in this. And it is what it is. I just got to, you know, keep doing what I got to do, beat the fighters I got to beat. And that's it.
How was it that Edgar Berlinga's potentially getting the Canelo fight before you when, like you said, you was...
You tell me. You tell me. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's just... It's frustrating, you know, at the end of the day, but I can't really say nothing. I don't really care. You know what I mean? If everybody knows why this fight's not happening. You know, if I was talking so much, I'm ready. I'm 100% ready. And if I'm not getting an opportunity, I'm not gonna stay on the sideline. I'm not gonna be an interim champion. I want to be a world champion, and that's where I'm going. I'm looking for other opportunities.